everybody, welcome back to Homestead Heart. And today I'm in the kitchen getting ready to can some chicken. And I am going to be canning chicken 3 ways. Yes, I am. So y'all stay tuned for this. I have everything on the counter ready to go and we about to get started. Okay, you all. So what I have here on my counter, I have my chicken. This is all legs and thighs. I have my 1.5 size jars. Remember, these are my favorites to can meats in. And these are wide mouth jars and they fit our family perfect. The pint size is too small. The quart is just too big. But this works good just for all meats. So I just typically prefer to use this particular jar to can all my meats in. Just works out good that way. Now, for you, if this is too much, then you could always do pints. If this is not enough, then feel free to pull out them quart-sized jars. But in any case, I try to use a wide mouth because it makes it easier to get the product in and out, and it makes it easier to clean your jars. Okay? All right, now, yeah, these jars are hard to find. These, I've already had my jars. I've already had these already. So I'm using what I have. If I didn't have these, then I would have to go ahead and use the quart. All right? All right. Now, 3 ways, okay? I am going to be canning a rosemary chicken. Look, I'm not using the ground rosemary. This is what I'm using right here. Ooh-wee! I'm going to be doing a lemon pepper chicken. And I'm going to be doing a mustard and herb chicken. Okay? Let's go ahead and get started. I have my All-American. I still haven't named her yet. I got my 3 inches of water in my canner. Okay? If you need to know how much water to put in your canner, read your canner's instructions. If you bought a used canner and you don't have a manual, look it up, Google it, you'll be able to find it. I'm going to be canning at 10 pounds of pressure for my altitude. If you don't know your altitude, Google it or call your local extension office and they should be able to assist you. Okay? All right. So I got all my spices. I got my measuring spoons. Got my vinegar here. Got my cannon. Y'all can't see it, but here we go. That's a funnel, debubbler, head spacing tool, my magnet, my jar lifter. Definitely got my salt. I'm using pink Himalayan salt. If you don't have this, use a kosher salt or a canning and pickling salt. Do not use all your large salt. Okay? Now, and I have my chicken, my legs and my thighs, and my lids right here. Okay? Now, I don't have any liquid to go in these jars because this chicken I'm raw packing, meaning that it is not cooked, meaning that it is cold. So cold chicken, cold jars, cold pressure canner. Okay? All right. And lastly, I have, as my daughter used to say when she was a little girl, I have my pecanacanins. That way I can clean the rims of my jars. My jars have already been washed. Okay? If you want to see how I prepare my jars and tools for canning, I will post that hopefully in the cards or at the end of the video. Okay? Okay, you all, so where I'm going to start is where I started with this particular jar right here. Now, and you are going to have to finagle these legs down in these jars, but I'm going to start off with a teaspoon of salt in these jars right here. The first 6 jars that I'm doing, or you can put a little bit more salt in if you like. But the first 6 jars that I'm doing is going to be my rosemary chicken. And I'm putting a teaspoon of rosemary in each jar as well, okay? All right, so that's just salt and rosemary, and that is, oh my goodness, how could I forget my pepper? Eee! And a half a teaspoon. A fourth of a teaspoon of white pepper. That's what I'm going to use because I don't want these jars to be too spicy for somebody else and they can't eat it, okay? So I'm only going to use a fourth of a teaspoon of white pepper because this white pepper can be something spicy, y'all, okay? All right, let's set that to the side. Now I'm going to start getting my pieces in. These two pieces down. I'm putting a big one down and a little one down, okay? I'm going to mash that down in a jar, and I'm going to do the same thing. And these two pieces are going to go upwards. And I'm going to put them in together, and I'm going to mash them down at the same time so they will go down in the jar together, okay? Like so, all right? Now, I've done this before, but I'm just showing you again because we are doing it 3 ways. Okay. So if you can't get a piece in, that means one of them is too big. Yep, that one's too big, so I'm going to grab another smaller piece and get it in. That's what I'm going to do. There we go. All right. I got the first 6 done. I got my vinegar here. I'm just going to go ahead and wipe the rims of each one of my jars. Make sure there's no fat on these jars here. Clean them good too, y'all. Clean them good. I found my bands. All right, and fingertip tight. Spices are down in the bottom of each one of my jars. And in the bottom of the canner, it's good. Okay, starting on the next batch. The first thing I'm going to do is get my teaspoon of salt in each one of my jars. That's first things first anyway. Now, I'm going to add in my lemon pepper. I'm doing a teaspoon of lemon pepper in each one. Now, because I have lemon pepper in the jars, I'm not adding white pepper. I'm going to leave it just like that, okay? Actually, to play with it a little bit, where is it? Hold up. I'm going to drop a little bit of parsley down in each one. I'm not measuring it. I'm just, dropping a pinch of parsley down in each one of my jars with the lemon pepper in it. I'm going to sit this to the side. Now, we'll go back to grabbing my chicken. All right. You got to finagle it. I got 3 thighs and 1 leg in this one. Okay, lemon pepper is all done. Now these final 3 right here are going to be mustard powder. Okay, what I'm going to do, where's my spoon? I'm going to put in a half a tablespoon of mustard powder because I do want them to have a strong mustard powder flavor. Okay, now that I have my mustard powder in, remember I already put salt in with this, okay? Then I'm gonna add a little bit of herb to this. I'm gonna add in 1/4 teaspoon of some Italian seasoning. Now remember, y'all season this however you want to season it, okay? Now, I'm gonna add to this, not a full 1/4 teaspoon of some red pepper flakes. Just to give it a little bit of a kick. Not much, but just a little bit of a kick. All right, now I'm ready to get the rest of my chicken in. I got my herbs in. I think I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of parsley to this too, to make sure I give this some nice flavor with that mustard powder. That's my 1 teaspoon. Put my parsley in each jar. That's gonna be an awesome, awesome flavored chicken right there. Okay. All right. All right. So I got legs and thighs in this one. And actually all three of the ones with the mustard powder in it has thighs and legs, okay? And start cleaning my rims. I'm going to start first with my lemon pepper. Okay, so what I've decided to do was go ahead and finish off rosemary chicken in the bottom of my can. Okay, so I got 2 more jars going in the bottom. Everything in the bottom is going to be rosemary. Now, because I could double stack quarts, or in my case 1.5 pints, this is awesome. Grab my other rack, put it on top. Then I'm going to start putting in my lemon chicken. So the first 5 on this side, that's lemon pepper. My last 3 are gonna be my mustard flavored chicken. So I got 16 pint-and-a-half size jars in this baby. I have already greased this, okay? I have already greased this right here, my little wing nuts. I've even greased in the middle right there, okay? And even, look. Oh, wait, got my little finger up in there. I did that too. Yes, I did. Yeah, you just can't be too careful. Okay, now I'm going to get this baby on here. Line my arrow up with that notch. Okay, my second time using this canner. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and turn so that this kind of goes in place and whatnot. Okay, then I'm going to start tightening these babies up on opposite sides. Not real tight at first, but just enough to hold it in place. Oh, there we go. Just enough to hold it in place. Okay. Now I'm going to come back and tighten. Okay, it's just making sure that everything is nice and tight. Now I got my fire going. I'm gonna go ahead and crank this baby up to high. And once it starts venting a steady flow of steam, I'll come back and set my timer for 10 minutes, and then on goes my 10 pounds of weight. All right, y'all. So I am still canning and still reviewing my 930 All-American. So, y'all, I will tell you now, I've already said I love this can. Okay, I do. The only difference that I would say is that it does take a long time for this to get to a point where it's venting, because it is such a heavy canner. Because it's heavy, then of course it's going to take a little while longer, right, for it to get through this process of venting. In the meantime and in between time, I want to take a second to answer a couple of canning questions that I received. Okay? Canning question number 1. I did not allow my canner to vent properly for the 10 minutes. And I think it's been longer than a month, I believe that email said. Can I reprocess them? No, you cannot. It is safe to reprocess if it's been about 24 hours. 48 is pushing it. But if you feel like your product is under processed, you need to go open up one of those jars, have a look, have a smell. So we got some baby kittens that's going to be for our barn, and they litty bitty and they are just characters. But that's a video for another day. But in any case, you need to open that jar and check that jar. Everything that you did in that entire batch, open one jar from it, okay? Open it, look at it, smell it, take it, pour it out, break it apart, smell it again, heat it up, cook it if you have to, or warm it up if you have to give it a taste, okay? But you want to be really, really careful when it comes to under-processed foods, okay? But if it's been a month, no, you don't want to reprocess that. You need to check that, okay? I'm not going to tell you to throw it away, but that's why I'm telling you to open a jar and check it out. And if that jar is safe, that I wouldn't bother the others, okay? But you want to be real careful about that. And that's only if you're sure that you didn't allow it to vent properly. All right? All right. Another question that I got was, can I cook my beans in a big pot, aluminum pot, whatever pot, because the only pot I got is this kind of pot, and it's the biggest one it's the biggest pot that I have, so can I use it? If you're cooking a big batch of beans and the only pot you got is a big aluminum pot, if that's all you got, you have to use what you have, okay, to cook your beans in. But just make sure that when you can them, you are putting them in a pressure canner, okay? All right, y'all, this has to vent for 10 minutes and we'll be back. All right, y'all, so I am back. And the part that I didn't show after my canner vented for 10 minutes is I came back and I put the weight on. I put this weight on right here. From my altitude is 10 pounds of pressure. Remember, if you don't know your altitude, you need to research your own altitude. You can Google it or call your local extension office, okay? So I've already set my timer for 90 minutes. Now, for me, this canner is on 11 pounds, is what this say. And what's happening is, every now and then, that way to go to jiggling, right? Right? Which is what we want to hear. That, right? So that's what's happening here every now and then. And I know what that sweet spot is on my stove, okay? So you have to find it for yours. But so far, in my continued review of this pressure canner, so far, again, I gotta say it. This thing is awesome. Awesome. After this 90 minutes is up, we'll be back. Okay. So, as you can see, the lid is already off. These babies are cooled down. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I noticed that even though this gauge gets down to 0, I noticed that this right here, when I come over, if I do this, and if I move it, it's still a lot of steam that wants to come out. And I noticed that. And so what I do is, even though this is down to 0, I still leave it just like that until when I come over here and I move this around. If it doesn't make any sound at all, then I take it off. Otherwise, I know when I take it off and it goes, it'll be like, right? For some reason, I don't like that. It doesn't damage the product or cause any problems because this gauge is down to 0. But for me, I think I'm going to wait until I hear nothing. And so I do that. And if I hear any, I don't touch it. I leave it. So that's what I was doing and realized that it's going to take a minute. And it did take a minute. And so when I took it off, after moving it around like that for like an extra hour, then there was nothing. And when I took it off, there was nothing. And I just set the lid down and I just left these in the pot, just like this. Yeah. So now I'm going to go ahead and get them out. The first 3 that I'm taking out is my mustard. And I'm going to sit these over here. These are the mustard ones right here. And I'm going to sit them to the side by themselves so I won't forget which ones they are. And then I'm going to take out my lemon pepper and leave these right here. Now I'm taking out all of my rosemary chicken. All right, y'all. That's 8 rosemary, 3 mustard and herb flavor, and 5 lemon pepper. That is awesome. And we love rosemary chicken, so this is gonna be so good. All right, y'all, that is it. Now, I'm gonna do a follow-up video because somebody said I forgot to, as I was saying, I'm gonna do a follow-up video to this because somebody said, what do you do after? Okay, and I don't mind sharing it either. What do you do after you have processed your jars, and then what do you do, right? And that's an excellent newbie question too, right? Because when you don't know, you don't know. And you only have to learn something one time, because once you learn it, you know it. So that's a good question. And I'm going to show you what I do following this video, okay? All right, y'all. So that's it. Thank y'all so much for joining me today while I can and do a follow-up review. But I can multiple flavors of chicken here. Don't nobody want the same old, right? You don't want the same old. What if you want to just open some rosemary chicken to serve over some delicious rice with that rosemary juice coming out of the chicken, and you putting that over your rice too? Ooh! All right, y'all gotta go. Anyway, thank y'all so much. If you haven't done so already, give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video we upload to our channel. Thank y'all for watching Homestead Heart. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Voila.